Bonjour and welcome, viewers and students, to Parlons Français. Let's speak French. These lessons on basic French are short and easy. And if you follow the program regularly, I can assure you that very soon you will be able to understand French quite easily. The previous lesson focused on the different phrases and structures used while placing or taking an order at a restaurant. In today's lesson, we will learn about the imperfect tense. This lesson has been divided into 3 sections. In the first section, I will present a text where most of the verbs are conjugated in the imperfect tense. In the second section, I will explain about the usage and construction of this tense. And in the third section, I will provide an exercise to revise what we learned in today's session. We'll begin the lesson with a French text. This text is about a young girl who goes for an excursion on her own. Une excursion de l'après-midi. Mes parents faisaient la sieste pendant que mon frère se divertissait à la plage avec les garçons du coin. Moi, j'étais seule et je m'ennuyais. Je voulais aller à la mer, mais mon frère ne voulait pas que je l'accompagne. Comme il faisait beau, j'ai pensé aller me promener dans le voisinage. La petite ville maritime somnolait sous un soleil radieux de l'après-midi. Il y avait très peu de gens dans la rue. Les cafés étaient presque vides. Je traînais pour quelque temps devant les boutiques lorsque j'ai vu une chose curieuse. Une vieille dame, emmitouflée dans un châle, se dirigeait furtivement vers les bois. Il semblait comme si elle cachait quelque chose sous le châle. J'étais intriguée par le mystère et j'ai décidé de la suivre. La vieille dame marchait vite. Elle jetait des coups d'œil derrière elle toutes les 2 minutes. C'était clair qu'elle ne souhaitait pas être aperçue. Chaque fois qu'elle regardait en arrière, je me cachais derrière un arbre. Ma conscience me disait de rentrer, mais ma curiosité me poussait à continuer. J'étais perdue dans mes pensées lorsque soudain j'ai entendu des petits miaulements provenant de la vieille dame. C'est alors que j'ai remarqué qu'elle portait un panier sous le châle. Dans le panier, il y avait 2 chatons noirs qu'elle essayait de cacher. Je me rendais compte qu'on approchait une partie isolée du bois. Les arbustes étaient plus denses. Au milieu d'une clairière, bien à l'abri des regards indiscrets, se trouvait une petite cabane. C'était la maison de la vieille dame. À ma grande surprise, j'ai découvert qu'elle avait plusieurs chats. C'est alors que j'ai compris que la vieille dame prenait soin des chats abandonnés. Soulagée par cette découverte, j'ai refait le chemin et je suis rentrée chez moi. So this was a short French text where many of the verbs are conjugated in the imperfect tense. In the next section, we will examine the construction and the use of this tense. We have already learned 2 past tenses, the compound past, passé composé, and the recent past, passé récent. In today's lesson, we will learn a 3rd past tense, the imperfect tense, known as l'imparfait in French. Before I explain to you the construction of the imperfect tense, let me inform you that this tense is a simple tense. I explained in the earlier lesson that all the tenses in French can be categorized into 2 groups, temps simple, simple tense, and temps composé, compound tense. All the tenses that are compound tenses use an auxiliary in their conjugation. This does not happen with simple tenses. Imperfect is a simple tense Hence, an auxiliary verb is not required to conjugate this tense. Now let me explain to you how to construct the imperfect tense. It's very easy to remember this construction because apart from the verb être, all the verbs, irrespective of their group, have the same ending and the same pattern of conjugation. AIS, AIS, AIT, AIT, IONS, IEZ, AIENT, AIENT. So these are the 8 endings. Now I'll show you the stem to which these endings are attached. For all the verbs except the verb être, we consider the first person plural form of the verb conjugated in the present tense, that is the nous form. Then we remove the ONS ending and attach the appropriate ending to it. For example, let's consider 3 verbs from the text. Marcher, to walk, is a first group verb. Se divertir, to enjoy, is a second group verb. And prendre, to take, is a third group verb. To conjugate them in the imperfect tense, we consider the nous form of the verbs conjugated in the present tense and add the endings to it. Marcher, nous marchons, present tense. Je marchais, tu marchais, il marchait, elle marchait. Nous marchions, vous marchiez, il marchait, elle marchait. Se divertir, nous nous divertissons. Je me divertissais, tu te divertissais, il se divertissait, elle se divertissait. Nous nous divertissions, vous vous divertissiez, il se divertissait, elle se divertissait. Prendre, nous prenons, present tense. Je prenais, tu prenais, il prenait, elle prenait, nous prenions, vous preniez, il prenait, elle prenait. Verbs that end with CER and GER undergo a slight change to keep the je and the se sounds. Manger, to eat. Je mangeais, tu mangeais, il mangeait, elle mangeait, nous mangions, vous mangiez, il mangeait, elle mangeait. The letter E is inserted after the G to maintain the je sound when the following letter is A. GAIS will be pronounced as gay, while GEAIS will be pronounced as je. With the first and second person plural, we do not insert the E because GIONS is pronounced as gion. Placer, to place. Je plaçais, tu plaçais, il plaçait, elle plaçait, nous placions, vous placiez, il plaçait, elle plaçait. The cedilla accent is attached to the letter C to maintain the S sound when the following letter is A. CAIS will be pronounced as K, while C with the cedilla AIS is pronounced as se. With the first and the second person plural, we do not add the accent because CIONS is pronounced as sion. Those verbs whose stem ends with I, such as étudier, to study, will have double I in the first and second person plural forms. J'étudiais, tu étudiais, il étudiait, elle étudiait, nous étudions, vous étudiez, ils étudiaient, elles étudiaient. Let me now show you the conjugation of the auxiliary verbs in the imperfect tense. Avoir, to have, is conjugated like all the other verbs. but être, to be, has an irregular conjugation. Avoir, nous avons, present tense. J'avais, tu avais, il avait, elle avait, nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient, elles avaient. Être, et, stem of the verb plus ending. J'étais, tu étais, il était, elle était, nous étions, vous étiez, ils étaient, elles étaient. Now that you know how to construct the imperfect tense, let me now show you the different uses of this tense. Being a past tense, the imperfect tense is naturally used to talk about the past. But the imperfect tense has a few specific uses. One of the uses of the imperfect tense is to describe someone or something. La salle était énorme mais vide. Une épaisse couche de poussière couvrait le plancher. The hall was huge but empty. A thick layer of dust covered the floor. Here, the two verbs être, to be, and couvrir, to cover, are conjugated in the imperfect tense because they are used for describing the hall in the past tense. In the text, we have many examples where the imperfect tense is used for description. Il y avait très peu de gens dans la rue. There were very few people in the streets. Les cafés étaient presque vides. The cafes were almost empty. A second use of the imperfect is for actions that have occurred habitually in the past. Il emmenait d'abord les vaches à la pâture. Ensuite, il rentrait à la ferme et nourrissait les poules. They used to first take the cows to graze. Then they would return to the farm and feed the hens. In this example, the three verbs emmener, to take along, rentrer, to return, and nourrir, to feed, are conjugated in the imperfect tense because they are used for actions that occurred every day in the past tense. In the text, we have many examples where the imperfect tense is used for habitual or repeated actions of the past. A third use of the imperfect tense is for ongoing past actions. The action that is in the imperfect tense contrasts from those past actions that happen suddenly. In English, the past progressive or the past continuous are tenses that are equivalent to this usage of the imperfect in French. Elle regardait les fleurs dans le jardin. She was looking at the flowers in the garden. In this example, the verb regarder, to look or to see, is conjugated in the imperfect tense because it is used for an action that was in progress at some point in the past. What differentiates this use from the second use is that the action of looking is not necessarily one that is repeated regularly. In the text, we have many examples where the imperfect tense is used for an ongoing past action. La vieille dame marchait vite. The old woman walked fast. C'était clair qu'elle ne souhaitait pas être aperçue. It was clear that she did not wish to be seen. Now let me show you a fourth use of the imperfect tense. Here, the imperfect tense is used to describe two or more simultaneous past actions. Monsieur Lorenzo cherchait ses lunettes pendant que sa femme préparait le repas. Mr. Lorenzo searched for his glasses while his wife prepared lunch. In this example, the two verbs chercher, to search, and préparer, to prepare, are conjugated in the imperfect tense because they are used for describing two actions that are taking place simultaneously. In the text, we have many examples where the imperfect tense is used in this manner. Mes parents faisaient la sieste pendant que mon frère se divertissait à la plage. My parents were taking a nap while my brother was enjoying himself at the beach. So these are the 4 uses of the imperfect tense. Since the past is often used in narrations, the imperfect tense is always associated with storytelling. Naturally, if the story or the event is recounted in the present, one wouldn't use the imperfect tense. One uses the imperfect tense only when recounting about the past. Il était une fois, which translates as once upon a time, is the standard opening line for fairy tales. As you can see, the tense used in the phrase is the imperfect tense. Il était une fois dans un royaume lointain, un roi et une reine qui désiraient un enfant. Once upon a time in a faraway kingdom, there was a king and a queen who wished for a child. When recounting an event, one always uses a variety of tenses to indicate the different sequence or nature of the action. For example, it is very common to use the compound past tense with the imperfect tense. Mon chien creusait sous la clôture pour s'échapper lorsqu'il a trouvé un os. My dog found a bone when he was digging under the fence to wander away. In this sentence, the first verb, creuser, to dig, is conjugated in the imperfect tense because it indicates an ongoing past action. On the other hand, the second verb, trouver, to find, is conjugated in the compound past tense because this action occurs suddenly. Both actions are in the past, but while the imperfect describes a continuous past action, the compound past indicates an abrupt action. In the text, we have several examples where a sentence contains both the compound past and the imperfect tense. J'étais perdu dans mes pensées lorsque soudain j'ai entendu des miaulements. I was lost in my thoughts when I suddenly heard a meowing. Before we summarize today's lesson, let me draw your attention to the English equivalent of the imperfect tense. The following tenses or expressions in English can all be translated by the imperfect tense in French. Past tense, he did, il faisait. He did his homework early in the morning. Il faisait ses devoirs tôt le matin. He was doing, il faisait. He was doing his homework when she returned. Il faisait ses devoirs lorsqu'elle est rentrée. He used to do it. Il faisait. He used to do his homework early in the morning. Il faisait ses devoirs tôt le matin. He would do. Il faisait. He would do his homework early in the morning. Il faisait ses devoirs tôt le matin. Now let me summarize the lesson for you. The imperfect tense is a tense that is widely used for narrating an event or a story set in the past. There are 4 primary uses of the imperfect tense: to describe something or someone in the past, to describe a habitual past action, to describe an ongoing past action, or to describe 2 or more simultaneous past actions. The imperfect can be translated in different ways in English depending on the meaning conveyed. We have below 5 sentences. Each sentence has 2 verbs. One verb will be conjugated in the imperfect tense while the other in the compound past tense. We need to justify our answer. On vagabondait dans la ville lorsqu'il commençait de pleuvoir. Vagabonder is an ongoing action that gets interrupted by sudden rain. Therefore, commencer would be in the compound past, while vagabonder is conjugated in the imperfect tense. On vagabondait dans la ville lorsqu'il a commencé à pleuvoir. This sentence translates as We were wandering in the city when it began raining. Les rideaux être décolorés et usés. In this sentence, être is a verb that is used for describing the curtains. Therefore, the answer would be les rideaux étaient décolorés et usés. This sentence translates as the curtains were discolored and worn out. Je lavais la vaisselle pendant que mon frère les essuyait. In this sentence, both verbs occurred simultaneously. Therefore, the answer would be je lavais la vaisselle pendant que mon frère les essuyait. This sentence translates as I would wash the vessels while my brother would wipe them. Pendant les vacances, nous faire du ski dans les montagnes. In this sentence, faire indicates a past action that occurred regularly. Therefore, the answer would be pendant les vacances, nous faisions du ski dans les montagnes. This sentence translates as during the holidays, we used to go skiing in the mountains. Les oiseaux volaient partout. In this sentence, voler indicates an ongoing past action. Therefore, the answer would be les oiseaux volaient partout. This sentence translates as the birds were flying everywhere. With this, we come to the end of our second lesson of Chapter 8. This lesson was divided into 3 sections. In the first section, I read out a text where most of the verbs were conjugated in the imperfect tense. In the second section, we examined the construction and use of the tense. We also learned the difference between the compound past and the imperfect tense. And finally, in the third section, we revised today's lesson by doing an exercise. I hope you enjoyed today's session. In the next lesson, we'll focus on the direct object. I hope to see you in the next session. Thank you and à bientôt. See you soon.